Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something that pretty much runs our entire digital lives. I'm talking about databases. These are the unsung heroes that take all that chaotic digital noise and magically turn it into the neat, orderly apps and websites we use every single day. Seriously, have you ever stopped to think about it? You add a song to your playlist, you post a photo, you toss something in your online shopping cart. Where does all that stuff go? How does your favorite app just know your preferences? Well, it all lives in what you could call the internet's memory. And to really get how that memory works, we've got to start with the absolute basics, the raw material. Before you can have nice, organized information, you need the building blocks. And those building blocks? That's data. So look at this. It's just a mess, right? A total jumble of stuff. 25? Is that someone's age? Or how many things are in a box? Apple. Are we talking about the fruit or the company? Without any context, without any structure, these are just meaningless bits and pieces. This, right here, is what we call raw data. And that leads us right into the official definition. At its core, data is just raw, unorganized facts. The most important part of that sentence is unorganized and needs to be processed. Because on its own, data isn't really useful for much of anything. Think of it like this. It's the flour, eggs, and sugar, not the cake. And this data stuff comes in all shapes and sizes. You've got your numbers, right? Like a price or your age. You've got text, like your name or the description of a product. Then there's something called Boolean, which is just a fancy way of saying a simple yes or no, a true or a false. And of course, there's multimedia. All your photos, your videos, all of it is just raw data floating around, waiting for someone to give it a job. Okay, so how do we take that digital garage sale of random facts and turn it into something we can actually use? Well, we need a system, an organizing system. I want you to imagine all that raw data is like a million loose pages of paper thrown all over a room. A database, that's the library that comes in, picks up every single page and puts it on the right shelf in the right book. And this is what that transformation looks like in action. On the left, you see the chaos, just a bunch of names, numbers, lists, but on the right, you see order. You see beautiful, structured tables. You see student records, inventory systems. That's the magic trick of a database. It takes all those random facts and gives them a home, a context, a meaning. So let's get a solid definition down. A database is not just a digital junk drawer where you throw stuff. No way. It's a structured collection of data. And those keywords, accessed, managed, and updated, are everything. That structure is what lets us find things, change things, and keep everything tidy. It's a living, breathing system, not some dusty old closet. Okay, let's go back to that library idea because it's a perfect example. Look at this table. Each row is basically one book on the shelf, and each column, the title, the author, whether it's available or not, that's a specific piece of info about that book. See how clean that is? It's totally organized. You can find exactly what you need instantly. But hang on, it doesn't stop there. There's another really important layer. I mean, having a perfectly organized library is great, but you still need a librarian, right? Someone to actually run the place? Well, in our digital world, that librarian is a piece of software, and it's called a DBMS, a database management system. So the DBMS, this is the software that does all the heavy lifting. It's the tool we use to actually build the database in the first place, to add new information, and, this is super important, to control who gets to see what. It's basically the manager, the security guard, and the receptionist all rolled into one. It's the brains of the whole operation. So what does this librarian software actually do? Well, it juggles a few really crucial jobs. First, storage and retrieval. It's got to store the data safely and be able to find it again in a flash. Next, access control. Think of this as the bouncer at the door, deciding who gets in and what they're allowed to touch. Then you've got backup and recovery, which is a total lifesaver, protecting our data from being lost forever. And finally, data integrity. This just means it makes sure all the information is accurate and consistent. It's like a built-in fact checker. Now, you might have actually heard of some of these names, even if you didn't know what they were. MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL. These are some of the big players, the most popular DBMS software out there. These are the engines running under the hood of so many of the websites and apps you use every single day. All right, that's a lot of technical stuff. But here's the big question. Why should you care? What does any of this have to do with you? Well, the truth is, this whole system, data, databases, the DBMS, it's working silently in the background of pretty much everything you do online. Think about your bank account. When you open your app and see that perfectly ordered list of every transaction you've made, yep, that's being pulled straight from a super secure database. Every single one of your deposits and withdrawals is just another row in a giant table. Or how about your watch list on your streaming service? You know, that ever-growing list of shows you swear you're going to watch someday? That's a database. It's just a simple table that links your account to a list of shows so it pops up perfectly whether you're on your TV, your phone, or your laptop. And what about your online shopping cart? You got it. That's a database too. It's holding on to your items in a temporary little record, just waiting for you to hit checkout. It's this invisible, behind-the-scenes organization that makes so much of our digital world just work. So really, from your social media feed to the contact list on your phone, databases are everywhere. They're the silent organizers that take all that chaos and turn it into the smooth, useful experiences we totally take for granted. So here's a little something to think about next time you're online. What part of your digital life is actually a database in disguise?